Hello, everyone. Hello, this is Chris Assis, founder and teacher of Bautanz Constructing Dance. And today we have another Tango Movement Lab. Before we get started, if you are in Canada, I hope you enjoyed the celebrations for Canada Day yesterday, and you're having a lovely time with your family and loved ones. Thank you for allowing for some time to spend with me today and dance a little bit of tango and work on a couple of technique drills that I hope you'll find useful. So for some housekeeping, if you see me stopping, is just to allow for someone to get into the Zoom call that's running on a different screen. And please keep on going. When the music is on, I'm not going to be giving you any cues. So feel free to choose a song of your liking if you're not enjoying the music choices that I have prepared for today. So you're not going to be missing anything if you mute that at that portion. And last but not least, YouTubers, you can add your questions on the chat. People on Zoom, if you feel that you have a question that you want to ask, you can put your hand up and ask away when the microphone is open. If you don't feel like having your voice heard over the recording, you can, of course, type it in the chat, and I'll keep an eye for both chats. And last but not least, we will have a recording right after this. So if you, for whatever reason, need to leave at some point and come back, you're not going to be missing anything, because thankfully we have a video of this practice, similarly to all our practices. So today we're going to be adding on to that upper and lower body coordination and identifying the pathways that are already existing in our body and using them in order to make our dances more enjoyable, and our movement more efficient. But before we do all of that, let's have a little dance. So again, like I said before, you can always mute me and dance away to something that you like. There's not going to be any cues at this moment. Okay, so sharing music. Here we are. Play. Oops. And pause. Okay, let's pause this. Good. All right. Okay, so we had a little dance for those of you joining now. We had our first dance, getting into how things are feeling. And I encourage you every time you're starting a practice, it's good to start with a dance just to get into the spirit of things. So let's get started. If you're wearing heels like I was, take them off for now. We're gonna get back into them if if you feel like it, but for a little bit we're going to work without heels and then we're going to put them back on. So let's do that. Shoes on the side. Sometimes that feels good. Okay, and you can be barefoot or you can wear socks. That's totally up to you. What I want us to do is take a moment to find our posture. And when we look at posture, I'm not going to give you a set of rules that you have to follow. So you're going to go, pull this in, put that out, squeeze this, leave that. So we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is, I want you to take a couple moments to feel where you are now at this moment. So, for example, usually when I stand, not dancing, just standing, in the street, I stand like this. This is my default. So I want you to find your default. Some people stand like this. Some people stand like this. Some people stand like this. Doesn't matter. So you find your default. So where you're starting from, because there is no point, for example, if you're already standing like this, some people do stand like this down the street, me telling you, push your hips back, pull your chest up and doing all these things, you're already there. So we need to know where we start from. So take just a couple seconds, just noticing where you are. You can close your eyes if you feel that you need to. Take a couple of breaths, relax, enjoy this moment of me time, and just notice. Notice the relationship between the three volumes of the body, the head, the thorax, right, and the pelvis. Notice how they relate, how they align when you're just standing, your regular standing on the sidewalk type of stand. So see where your feet are, if they're close together, if you're standing apart like this, just notice what your default is. Okay. And unfortunately, we're not together, so I'm not sure if you're there, but I'm going to give this a couple more seconds. So we're sure that we're there and found it. Maybe another breath. Good. Okay. And hopefully you're feeling comfortable where you are. And I want us to start from the pelvis. So imagine the pelvis is like a bowl. It is almost like a bowl. And I want you to tip the bowl backwards. So if it was full of water, you're dripping the water down toward the ground like this. And then you're taking the bowl and you're dropping the water forward. I'm just gonna zoom myself in. There we go. So if this is your default, this is my default. I'm now taking the water, dropping it down through the back. So this is flexion. And then I'm dropping the water forward, extension. So I want you to identify the two edges. You're going to feel that when you're hitting the end of range for flexion, there starts to be a little pull at the end of your spine. So you need to stop there. Don't go any further. So kiss the edge, don't push against it. And here you're going to feel that there is compression. Try not to go too far into it so it doesn't turn into a pinch, right? We don't want to injure our backs. So now you're going from one end to the other end for the pelvis. You need to have your knees soft, and you need to have a position in the upper body that's not holding, because if you hold here, then you won't be able to move. And similarly, if you overstretch the knees, you won't be able to move, right? So you need some softness in the rest of the body in order for this to happen. So you kiss the edges. And now I want you to keep going with this path and identify middle and keep going. Identify middle and keep going. Middle and keep going. Let's zoom out a little bit and keep going so you can see your feet as well. So you'll notice that I'm pausing just a bit and I keep going. I don't stop there. Pause, keep going. Pause, keep going. Pause, keep going. Good. And now, if you were kissing the edges, so kiss the flexion end of range, kiss the middle, kiss the end of range for extension, I want you to not kiss the edges anymore. So you know where the end is, try to avoid going there. So you're always in this in-between zone. In-between zone. And you'll notice there is a lot of space, and there is also a lot of buoyancy. So we don't feel stuck. We feel that there is flexibility, there is space compared to when we reach the end. Okay? And now settle in the middle. Good. Keep this as is. And let's do the same thing for the thoracic, for the thorax. So if you're gonna find this area of your spine as it transitions to lumbar from thoracic. So somewhere mid-spine here. And we're gonna go flexion, extension. And if you keep your mouth open, you'll notice that you are breathing. You're breathing anyways, but there is air coming in and out, because this is actually the movement that we do in order to allow for our lungs to compress and expand so we can take a breath in and take a breath out. So these are important movements, not just to establishing posture, but to actually be able to fully take a nice breath in and release the air out. And again, if you're noticing the tension is starting to build up around the pelvis, try to let it go, because then you will be restricting your movement up top as well. So if you notice the edges, now start noticing the middle edge, the middle extension, the middle flexion, the middle, extension. And notice that you don't need to copy me. You're feeling this in your body. And most likely we have slightly different bodies, so it's not going to look the same anyways. So no need to copy the teacher. And now you know where the end is, but you don't want to go all the way to the end. You want to stay in this zone. And again, you notice the buoyancy of this zone. And now settle in the middle. And just take a moment to notice this relationship now that is much different than most likely the relationship you have as your default. Maybe it feels too far forward. For some might feel too far back. I'm not sure. But notice this relationship and notice the characteristics of it. Relaxed. You're not holding. You're not engaging muscle to hold yourself in this position. Relaxed, but not letting go. Ready to move, but not committed in one direction. So let's do the same thing for the head, because oftentimes that pulls us in a specific posture as we're dancing tango. So focusing at the atlas, the very top, where our skull sits over our spine. You can press very gently here if you want to get some extra feedback. So you can see, yeah, okay, good. So we go forward and back, and be very careful with this so it doesn't go further down in the spine. So this is working, this is taking that weight of the head forward and taking the weight of the head back. Notice how much it changes. It wants to pull your whole body forward as you're going deeper and deeper into this. And this is because our head is heavy. So how you align the head, it will change completely your the posture of the rest of the body, and also your experience of the dance and connection to your partner. So again, we're kissing the edges. And be aware if you're building tension in other parts of the body, that's quite common. And now start identifying the middle and keep going. So we kiss the middle, one edge, the middle, and the other edge. The middle, one edge, the middle, and the other edge. And we keep going with this path. And we're going to stop kissing the edges and be in this in-between zone that from now on we're going to call neutral zone. It is the zone between the two points that we call the end of range. And settle in the middle, and notice that notice the alignment of your eyes that are going to the horizon, so they're not directed down. They're actually or straight forward, but they're actually slightly up. And this is to counterbalance the weight that we have of the muscles and all the organs actually, and the weight of the liquids that we have holding in the front of the body, in the front of the head. So with all this, we're going to put some music on, and I want you to play with these movements as you're doing, sorry, whoops, there, step away, as you're doing rebounds, right? So an exaggeration. Of course, we don't dance like this, but I want you to experience this neutral zone Avoid going all the way to the end because you're gonna feel stuck. You can try it, absolutely. So play with this neutral zone and notice how these 3 volumes are interacting. And then we're gonna start building our way towards more like clearly tango stuff. Okay, here we go. Let's put some music on. Enough time, but not too much time. Let's try this.
Help me understand. Oh, help me understand you. Smooth sailing when I understand. Smooth sailing on the other side. There's a fire, call the fireman. If you're in pain, baby, call the doctor. Don't be afraid to say I need you. I will understand.
Mhm. Okay. Pause. Okay, perfect. So again, if you have any questions, you can type them in the chat or Zoomers, you can always put your hand up and unmute and ask away. Why are we doing this? Just a quick blurb. First, we have these movements as we walk, and our human walk. That's how it is. There, along with other movements, there are these movements around this axis. So if you imagine we have an axis here, we have a movement of back and forth. Now, so that's one thing. The other thing is we want to start understanding our posture not as one thing that we have to lock it in position and take it around. Because what does this do? How can it be the same if I'm standing, not going anywhere, compared to being on one foot and going somewhere? So this obviously is a structure that changes in order to allow us to move comfortably. Could you hold it and keep it and move it around? Sure you can, but that creates first of all, requires a lot of work and creates a feeling of disconnection between the upper and the lower body. And that translates to guessing between the two partners. Because if I don't have an awareness between upper and lower body, what my legs are doing through my upper body, how can I possibly transmit the message I'm getting from my partner in through my body to my legs, and through the embrace, let my partner know where I'm at, right? So this takes a lot more work compared to having a posture that actually breathes and allows for these messages to be communicated. So these are some of the reasons why we're doing this. So what we're gonna do, if you have a band, bring it in. Now that we have at least established an exercise for finding point 0, where you are relaxed but ready to move and not committing to one direction. And we have established a neutral zone, which is moving between the edges, so not at the end of range. Now we're going to remind ourselves, using an elastic band, of some of the hammocks that we explored last time. And then we're going to put everything together in a couple of tango exercises. So the hammocks we explored last time was basically the back line, the back fascial line. You're going to grab your band, or it can be a long t-shirt, or it can be a scarf, it doesn't matter. But just something that you can use to as reference of that fascial line. And this fascial line goes from one side of the your skull base, down your neck, across to the opposite shoulder blade, and hugs under the shoulder blade. So I want you to put your band on like this, and gently, very gently, start doing this to yourself. Now, if you lock yourself in a position at the end of range, whichever one this is, maybe dropping the hips back or forward, whichever position, or holding the thorax in place, you'll notice that this will do nothing, and it will be quite awkward. So find that 0-0 position we were working on before, and then with your band, start giving yourself almost like a massage, but basically you're using the band to pull your self in one way and the other. And you'll notice that this, once you find that line, this translates into the neck, and your hips want to wobble as well. So, and you will see why. When the neck, we already talked about, the fascial line goes all the way up. So When things are communicating with each other and there's no blockage, then we see the head moving along as well. Very gently, very gentle pressure with the band. So it feels soothing. Okay, so this is, imagine this is one hammock that we have here. And then what happens is this fascial line comes actually to the front, and it goes across our belly, and to the opposite hip. So that's why I was saying you're gonna feel that then once things are connected, that these 2 points now are communicating. So let's get back at it. Sometimes I feel that it is easier if you do it with a hand and not with a band. So play with these 2 points, and also you can use your hand to massage your the belly button, basically the belly area, not the belly button, the belly area, and feel how, if you're going along this path, how that makes your body rotate. And this path, we know where it's sitting, right? Where you are leading and following. Right? If you want, you can use the band, of course, if it helps you, right? So it just feels, to me, it feels a little bit awkward. I feel that with a hand, they can do a better job. So totally up to you. So, but you're going in a crisscross. Right? Good. And now, so we went from the base of the head around to the opposite shoulder blade, crossing at the front and coming to the outside of the hip. There we go. And then this band goes down and then right across on the inside. Oops, there you can't see it. On the inside, and now it creates a new hammock because it goes underneath our foot. And then it comes up, and then it crosses again. After the knee, it comes up, goes inside, and goes all the way up. Crisscrossing or not crisscrossing, that's a little bit unclear. So this is what we're gonna do. This other hammock that we have, we're gonna play with this one. Then we're gonna switch sides so we can have everything realigned on both sides. So it goes like this, and you'll notice that if you hold still on the other parts, this is very difficult to do, but basically notice that there is a twist in the hammock. The hammock along its all the path, it's not straight. So when you're lifting your leg, really use the band to lift the leg. It doesn't go straight up, it goes a little bit in a rotation. And notice how much this changes the quality of the leg lift in your hip. So you would be outside your hammock if you were to do straight. You can see how the hammock is not working. Then it would be outside your hammock if you were over opening up the knee, right? Going out here, going across. So try to find where your leg is in the hammock. In the hammock. Right? And if you go, this would be your projection forward. And I want you to use your hammock to go in your back projection. So if you go straight back, you're outside your hammock. If you go too far out to the side, you're outside your hammock. So you need to find where you are staying and using the buoyancy of this hammock. Let me turn this way so you can see in front and the back. It might take some time of getting used to. Front and back. And I want you to go front. And if you start reaching for the ground, you'll notice that your heel is towards the center line. Sorry, you still can't see my toes. There. Your heel is towards the center line and your toes will probably be slightly open. And again, don't copy the teacher. Your foot is going to end up where it wants to end up. And then if you go back, your big toe is going to go down first. And as gradually you're putting weight, you want to stay in the hammock, your weight is going to go toward the outside of your foot. Because if it goes towards the inside, you're losing your hammock. If it goes too far out, you're losing your hammock. So, lost the hammock here. There. Okay. And let's switch over to the other side. We're starting from the top. So if you did right side, left shoulder blade, you're going left side of the neck, right shoulder blade, and vice versa, of course. Remember, it always goes crisscrossing, not straight down. So once you find it, you're creating the relationship between these two. And you know now what we're looking for. So try to see how that awareness changes the quality of the exercise. You know where you need to be to feel the connection between those points. And maybe one side it feels different from the other. That's absolutely normal. And if you're not getting it, that is okay, because things like that take time, even though they look very simple. Notice also that the body is not doing this. It has an up and down to it, along with a rotation. And now we're going to go across, right? Like so. You can use the band, or you can do it like I'm doing it, just rubbing across the belly. Or you can do the same hand, doesn't matter, as long as you're following the pathwork. And you notice that this is the same path now, just a side note here. So you notice that when this back fascial line goes, we explore it through the whole of it, it marks the X at the front, where you're leading and following from, right? So it's quite important to be able to find that X and transmit the message to the upper and to the lower body. Good. And now we're going, remember, it's going down the hip, switches to the inside of the leg, goes underneath our foot, and then it goes up on the outside and switches to the inside after the knee. So find your hammock for the leg. Doing a lousy job there. Okay, there we go. Minor adjustments. That's it. That's it. Find your hammock. And I want you to let your leg be manipulated into this movement, pulling, because this is what happens when we flex our hip. And don't forget about the rest of the hammock, right? So you don't stiffen up. Because this works in unison, not as one piece, but in unison. There is communication. That's what we've been exploring, right? So feel how this has space and buoyancy, and there's no glitch. And take it to the back and try to stay within your hammock. Stay within the hammock. So this is outside the hammock, outside, outside. And you can play with those positions and notice how they feel, that they're not the same quality as this one. And not bad or good. It's just different. Okay. And go forward and see, take a reach, allow for your foot to reach for the floor. Notice where your heel ends up in relation to your toes. And then go back, find this position, stay within your hammock as you gently start releasing some of the weight, staying within your hammock. And noticing that how the weight gets transferred back over the new foot. The other foot, the new foot. Okay, so release this. And shoes or no shoes, totally up to you. Actually, I would suggest let's do this once, no shoes, then we put the shoes on. So I want you to use the rebounds we did before, not exaggerating so much these movements, but noticing how they are there and how they allow you to stay in your hammock. Because if you hold the hips in place, there is no hammock. Everything is just like held from the two ends. So they allow you to stay in your hammock, but I want you to focus more on this path. And the quality of the fascia is such that it has elasticity in it. So we want to feel that buoyancy and elasticity in our movement. So what we're doing is rebounds, but we're looking for these hammocks. And the hammocks come here too, right? This hammock, this, and up the top. And you can have your hand on here. Hopefully you are trying this with me. So you can feel how this works, how this hammock that holds your stomach works, right? Or on the other side. Right. So spend some time playing with these hammocks. And yeah, we're gonna be back in a couple minutes. Here we go. Again, if you hate my music, you can always put something else on. I'm not gonna be giving you cues as we're moving through.
Hear my voice, hear my dreams, words, hear my toys, hear my voice.
And pause. Okay, so just a word of caution. Sometimes these things can frustrate us. So if you are feeling frustrated, just take a moment, dance it off, let it go, let go of the exercise, and just dance it off. Why this happens? It happens because we've worked so hard into building a specific habit that might be very different from what we're doing now. And so, which is very common, I think, in tango dancers, the phrase, I know how to walk. And it's true, you do. that is true. So that is that battle that we have to fight against ourselves in allowing for the unknown to grow and the know what we already know to take a step back. So that might cause a little bit of frustration. If you feel frustrated, just dance the rest of the song. That's okay. Step away. You've already gained a lot. Even by just becoming aware that I can't take this anymore. I need to take a step back. Okay, so that's just a word of caution because I know it happens, and unfortunately I'm not with you to be able to identify it if I see it and guide you through it. So you have to become a little bit more allow for this awareness to and the cues to guide you through your practice. So let's add on. If you want to wear heels, go for it. If you don't want to, that's okay. You can stay without the heels. Okay, here we go. So, okay, one more shoe. Okay. All right. Okay. So, let's see. Okay, 1 second. We need battery here. These things. Okay. All right. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put all of these things that we worked on in Tango, and we're gonna work like this. So, yeah. See, yes. So, all these movements, first of all, they're gonna be much smaller now. I want you to start by finding this 0-0 posture. Notice that is not much, well, if you're dancing milonguero style, it is going to be much different. But for now, most of the social tango styles are somewhere along these posture standards. So some of them might be more upward, some of them might be more forward, but we're somewhere here. So I want you to find the posture first and bring your arms up either as a follower or as a leader. It doesn't matter. But I want you to feel, though, is first, you're going to start from 2 feet and you're going to use this from one side of the neck to one shoulder blade, this crisscross, to go to 1 foot balance. Right? And we're having our arms up because you can feel it better. Right? one foot. And then I want you to take a moment here and step. So basically, we're doing exactly the same exercise, only in more tango terms. So let's keep going. We're going to do a couple of steps forward and a couple of rebounds forward, a couple of rebounds backwards. Here, you're working more with this line, this crisscross. You can choose which one to explore. Take a moment to feel the buoyancy. Feel the hammock for the leg. So if you're going straight, try to see how that changes and allow for the rest of this hammock, bigger hammock, to adjust. And you do your rebound on the other side. Let's do 2 more forward and 2 more, and then we're going to switch to back. You're going forward and you're finding this crisscross, checking with your hammock, allowing this foot to take you into that forward step. There we go. And I'm exaggerating so you can see it more in the video, right? So it's not this big. I'm just exaggerating so you can see what I'm asking you to do. So in your body, it's going to be much smaller. You can exaggerate, of course, if you like. Find this. And let that weight, the weight of the leg, take you forward. So it's interesting how all of these elements are connected through this chain. Good. Come forward and pause. Take a step back so you can see. Now, we're going to start again. Okay, start again. Find your position. I did followers. I'm going to do leaders now just for fun. You can stick with what you initially chosen. And you go starting from the top, crisscrossing, find that pathway. Find that pathway. You can use your hands if you need some guidance. It's kind of cool. When you get there, it's very cool. It's very very fluid. And you shift your weight over and then take a moment to find a hammock. Going forward actually helps a little bit. And then find a hammock going back. You can hold on to something if you feel that you need to. Back. And see how this gives you more power to go into that back step without losing the connection with the front body. Pulling away, pushing against your partner. So you're where you need to be and you have the buoyancy and the connectivity throughout from head to foot. And you rebound. Noticing how that weight shifts to the back and allowing for these crisscrosses to help you out. You can use one hand if you feel that you need to. Find your hammock in the front and then shift it to the back. And notice how the body realigns. Allow for these, for the fascial line to move throughout the body and rebound. I'm just going to turn so you can see me from this other perspective. There. Rebound. Good. Step. Find it here. Of course, we don't dance like this, but this is an exercise. Find the hammock. And then stay with your hammock as you take this leg. Stay with your hammock. Take this leg back. Yeah. There we go. rebound, and here you can lose the embrace for a bit and find the relationship over the center of command. Whoops. Heel throw. There. Can't fit for the last one. Find your hammock and then stay within your hammock as you take the leg back. There. That's it. Stay with it, stay with it, stay with it, and rebound. Okay. So let's do one more little drill that I will ask you to incorporate in your dance. So this is drill number 1, starting from 2 feet, using the fascial line to switch, and then playing with these hammocks as you rebound and take a step either going forward or going backwards. The second drill we're going to do, again, we're starting from 2 feet, arms up in whichever embrace you like, 0-0 posture, and being in this mindset that the posture is a thing that we dance with. So use that neck to shoulder blade line to switch to 1 foot. We take a step this time, and I want you to feel this line. So this line will we'll start with playing with this crisscross relationship, and then we're going to switch to the other side of the crisscross, and then we're going to switch again to this side of the crisscross and see how it plays out when we're doing a lapis or 2 and step. Going forward, play with these. If you need a rebound here, absolutely. And then play with this crisscross to do the lapis and step. And again, you do the lapis and step. Let's go to the back. Take a moment. 2 feet, 1 foot, in your hammock, and go back, and lapis, step, lapis, and again, I'm exaggerating so you can see it through the video. You don't need to do it that much. Lapis. Lapis. Step. Okay. So with these 2 drills in mind, let's put a song on. Don't feel that you have to do the drills all the time, but try to fit them in. Okay. Something. There.
Como una lluvia de cenizas y fatigas en las horas resignadas de tu vida. Gota de vinagre derramada, fatalmente derramada sobre todas tus heridas. Fuiste por mi culpa golondrina entre la nieve, rosa marchitada por la nube que no llueve. Fuimos la esperanza que no llega, que no alcanza, que no puede vislumbrar la tarde mansa. Fuimos el viajero que no implora, que no reza, que no llora, que se echó a morir. No comprendes que te estás matando, no comprendes que te estoy llamando. No me beses que te estoy llorando y quisiera no llorarte más. No ves que es mejor que mi dolor quede tirado con tu amor, librado de mi amor final. No comprendes que te estoy salvando, no comprendes que te estás matando. No me sigas, ni me llames, ni me beses, ni me llores, ni me quieras más. Mejor que mi dolor quede tirado con tu amor, librado de mi amor final. No comprendes que te estoy salvando, no comprendes que te estoy amando. No me sigas, ni me llames, ni me beses, ni me llores, ni me quieras más.
All right. Okay. I don't know how 1 hour goes by so fast, but that is always the case with these things. If you have any questions, any thoughts, anything that you'd like to share, I know this is the restriction that we have with this medium, but I'm always available at Krissa.Assis with double S at Bautanz.com. I would like to hear from you, read through your light bulb moments. If you have any feedback, anything that you'd like to share, I'd love to read it and get back to you, especially if you have a question. Absolutely. I'll try my best to help you out through writing. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I'll see you soon in our next, hopefully, Tango Movement Lab. Bye-bye.